What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys. And yes, college football, college football, college football. I'm sitting here watching the Texas Vanderbilt game. Go Longhorns. They showing out today. Man, Booby, I seen your comment. And I was going to put this video off for another day. But I'm like, nah, let's go ahead and do it. Why put it off? Because it is that time of year, guys, where we need to start talking about college football 27. Okay? The sooner the better, because they already making the next game. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, OG Scott, you know what I'm saying, you see this video and y'all take some of these things into consideration. So first and foremost, I am still to this day enjoying playing college football 2026. It's a step up from college football 25. Now, people are going to say, I'm going to tackle this first. Graphics. Graphically, the game looks great. I don't think there's much you can improve on aside from lighting and stuff like that. You're kind of limited with the current generation consoles and stuff like that. As far as gameplay, guys, I don't expect a major overhaul of how the game works because EA's still building it on the same engine that they built Madden on. And so you're going to have those legacy issues, if you will. You get what I'm saying? So when I talk about my college football 27 wish list, guys, I am going to talk about features and things that help the immersion of the game and stuff like that. So first and foremost, we need a legitimate halftime show. I have to go back to NCAA 14 with Reese Davis and them in the studio, but we got to take it up another level. And I can truly see them implementing some of the same thing that they did in Madden, where they actually show clips from the game, where they actually show, even if you're in an online Dynasty, they'll show clips from the other people, highlights from their game from that Dynasty and stuff like that. I think that is crazy dope. I don't see no reason why they wouldn't bring it to college football 27. I cannot wait to see that. I mean, if it's not in, don't even ask for my money, because why is it not at this point? You already have the studio updates in the game, but you just hear the commentators talking about it. You see the little thing flash at the bottom of the screen, studio update. But no, we need the actual cutaways for the studio updates. Show us the stats. Show us some highlights even. Treat the game more like a TV broadcast. And I get that, you know, a lot of the games now are more online multiplayer competitive kind of deal. So you could even limit this feature to more of a dynasty mode, because I like to experience the game the way that we see it on television. And that was one thing that I think NCAA 14 did well with this presentation, is when you turned it on, it was like watching the game on television. You had, and I know, you know, we don't have the ESPN broadcast thing, but EA Sports has done a very good deal with college football. The way that they've done the presentation, the way that they've done the score bugs and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't even know, thinking back, if I said NCAA 27. If I did, I apologize. EA Sports College Football 27, guys. Things like that, Bob. So presentation-wise, give us the halftime show. Give us those studio updates. Give us the halftime, the reporting. Remember, sometimes in 14, after you come out of the half from the halftime show, after that opening kickoff, you would have the interviewer. I forgot her name. It wasn't Erin Andrews. I think they had somebody else. It could have been Erin Andrews. But they had somebody, a woman on the sideline. I don't care who it is. It could be a guy for all I care. But they would talk about like things that they talked to the head coach about going into the half and stuff like that. I'm telling you, the stuff that we see on TV. Hey, maybe even a halftime interview before they go in for the half, like they do on TV. You see them interview the coaches at the end of the second quarter. You know what I'm saying? Something like that would be really cool. And then a weekly wrap-up show. I don't think we've ever really truly had anything like that in college football, but it would be really, really cool. You could fine-tune it to where the weekly wrap-up show is only specific to your conference, or you could do it as a nationwide kind of deal. Like I said, they have it in Madden, although it is a little bit easier to implement in Madden because you only have 32 teams as opposed to the 130-something teams that are in college football. Okay, so presentation to me is what this game is missing. And there are some cool presentation elements in 26, but they can take it up a notch. Let's be real. So the next thing, teams. I think this is a really, really big deal for a lot of people wanting the wanting the subdivision, the FCS schools in the game, and I don't think that that's a crime to want that. I think it's a tall order. It's gonna take a whole lot of work because one thing that they're not gonna do, they're not gonna just throw these teams in the game and have them be generic. Does that make sense? So I really see them putting these teams in the game. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it to the same level of detail and attention that they do the FBS schools. And I can respect that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a process. Understand, they may implement it. I can see them doing it and implementing a few teams at a time because, heck, they're still adding mascots and things like that to the game from the FCS schools. You know what I'm saying? It's almost as if, like, when the game comes out, I mean, we used to get complete games. Now it seems like we get games now that, you know, they're complete in the sense of how the game plays, but they're not complete in the sense of things that are added to the game. It's almost like a year-long live service, and I'm fine with that. I love the addition of the uniforms and stuff, and the fact that they don't charge you for it, because even in NCAA 14, they would do the uniform packs, and you had to pay for those. Guys, we get them for free now, and that's awesome. I really, really love that attention to detail and that willingness to do those things to keep the game alive and fresh and things like that. So adding those FCS schools would be a huge plus. Now, something that we feel playing through the game, once you get into the offseason, man, I really would like more control over the game, over my players' development. Now, you can do this sort of, kind of in a way whenever you're actually allocating the points that the players get from training and stuff like that. But I would rather have it set up similar to how they did in head coach, NFL head coach. You could take a page out of something you've already done, where you can actually set up the workouts for your players. If you want them to focus on strength or speed or agility or quickness or whatever the case may be, you know, even during the season with practice and stuff, I like the implementation of saying, hey, we're going full pads. Hey, we're going shell, you know, things like that to help preserve, you know, adding another layer to the wear and tear. But in that off season, because I'm, you know, kind of got off topic real quick, the off season, allowing us to structure how we want our off-season training to be, I think that would be a cool quality of life deal. Like I said, you sort of can do that already with the way that you upgrade your players. You can just put their points into speed or agility or whatever you want to put it into. So I get that. But another thing, off-season wise, guys, there's no reason why we shouldn't have a spring game. And I would even go as far as to say the Senior Bowl, but I think the Senior Bowl would be something more beneficial to Madden. That's what they did in the past. We had an NCAA game where you could play the spring game, and it allowed you to unlock some of the development traits for your players. I think that would be cool. It allowed you to unlock some of like the skills, to kind of see where your team was at going into the year for these incoming freshmen and stuff like that, and JUCO transfers and even just regular transfers. I think that's a huge opportunity, especially with the way the transfer portal is now in the game and in real life. I think that them implementing a spring game into the offseason would be monumental, simply because of the fact of you get to kind of experience your team before the season starts, and then they can even add another layer to it where you can unlock the dev trait. Hey, you know, you play with this player, you can unlock their dev trait. That's how they did it in Madden. Whenever they had the Senior Bowl, it allowed you to unlock a little bit more of attributes on the player that you were scouting for the draft and stuff like that. So it is something that's been in the past. They've had the spring game in the older college football games, same way as they had the Senior Bowl in older Maddens. You know, I think that it would be really dope. And then they can even add that same element into Road to Glory. You know what I'm saying? That would be really, really cool. Adding more depth, especially if you're a transfer, kind of getting used to the new playbook in your team before you hit the field. So that was my biggest thing as far as the offseason is the spring game, man. Add that back in there, man, because the offseason is kind of meh, you know, outside of recruiting and stuff like that. Another thing, talking recruiting wise, promises. bring back us being able to make promises to these recruits, man, because I think that that's something that still goes on, especially with the transfer portal being the way that it is. I would imagine you got a lot of coaches out there that are making promises. It'll probably shift it a little bit in reference to NIL, but promises, and then maybe we could do the same thing. Like, give us the power that we have in our road to glory, where the coach can offer us different benefits and stuff like that to signing with the team. Hey, maybe allocate because now they have where the schools can pay the players directly. So shoot, give us a budget or something. Give us some money to be able to allocate to these guys, or brand deals or something to that effect. I know that is difficult because, like I said, the NIL landscape is still to this day is just changing willy-nilly. So it's really hard to kind of pinpoint one thing and go with that. But adding some level of depth to the recruiting, I like the way the recruiting is right now. I like the way that they've implemented it more into the coaching skill trees and stuff like that, which leads me into the next thing for my wish list. Give us more depth. Guys, I say this. They've moved some stuff around to make the CEO and the program builder pretty good, but it still lacks. I mean, for you to have to win 2 national championships just to even get the CEO, like in the playoff games for the program builder, I still feel like for CEO even that it's missing. It's missing something. There's a lot of things in there, guys, that really, if you're good at the game, are kind of useless, like home field advantage and on the road and stuff like that. Like, you really don't need that. I feel like they can be a little bit more creative, and maybe that's going to merit us doing a separate video on some different things. I talked about some things before as far as I've talked about some things before as far as what they can do with the skill trees and stuff like that. But dude, we got to make that more valuable. You can even make it harder to get, but it has to be some things in there to make it a lot more valuable, because there's not a lot of things in there that are useful, if that makes sense. As far as I do want to get into Road to Glory, some wish list stuff for that. I like how Madden done their superstar mode. I really did. I like the circle stuff that's going on with it, the brand deals and unlocking different gear or whatever the case may be. Bring that to college football. Bring that to college football. I don't see why we couldn't. I like that concept, especially with NIL, like having a brand deal with Nike or Under Armour or something like that, or whoever, and then have that equipment add different stats, but then also give us the ability to make the equipment look how we want. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be out there with a purple visor or some stupid thing like that. You know what I'm saying? Give us the chroma effect, be able to edit that stuff. But I like it. I like the concept of superstar mode, the way that they did the circle and the coach trust and stuff like that. It's really in depth. It's really refreshing. And it does make you feel like you're working towards something, because Road to Glory, as far as the high school part, at first I went into it a little skeptical because I'm like, oh, you just playing moments. But it works. It works for me. And I'm telling you, it works for me because one thing that I do like about it is that, if I want to start a new Road to Glory, I don't have to play through an entire high school season, and you can't skip it. You can't super sim. I never liked that about NCAA 14, like playing 4 or 5 games, okay, cool. But then you playing a whole high school year, it's cool when you're getting recruited and stuff like that. But guys, I like the moments. And I mean, hey, maybe they can make it to where it's up to you. Do you want to play a full season, or do you want to play the way that it's done in 26, where you play the moments? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm interested to hear, like, those of you who wanted the full season, how we feeling about the moments? Because like I said, the way that they did it is pretty cool. And I love the recruiting aspect. It is so engaging going through high school, but once you get to college, it falls flat. Road to Glory mode falls flat once you get to college. And like I said, I think if they implemented the circle stuff that they have in Superstar mode in Madden, I think that it could push it into the right direction, because like I said, it gives you something to strive for. It's more engaging, it's more in depth, and you got to pay attention to the intricacies and things like that are there. I could even see them bringing a lot from Madden over to college football, to be honest with you. The way that they do the plays, the bonuses and stuff like that, the coaching stuff. I don't know, man. I think that that's going to be really, really cool. Now, one thing that I do want to see them bring back is they done this in the previous college football games on the older ones, is whenever you graduate, when you're done playing, these games are all connected. At some point, they need to connect it in this way. Now, the older ones, you could choose to go directly into Dynasty with your player. I still to this day say they should do that. After I'm done playing my season, if I don't want to go to Madden and go to the NFL, I can become a coach. But here's the deal. Let's say you choose to do that. You're not going to start off as a head coach. I would love it if you go through a coach road to glory type mode. Now, Dynasty is a road to glory for a coach, but dude, let's make it more interesting. You can have it to where, hey, you can start out and play a head coach or offensive coordinator for whatever team, or you can also make it to where we have a choice. Give us a choice to where the game kind of locks us out to having to start with a lower ranked team, or depending on our position, if we want, well, you got to have coaching experience. Let's say instead of starting out, I can play with Texas as a head coach right out the gate. Okay. Make it more of like a road to glory kind of deal where, say, I can't start out at Texas, not even as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, that I have to start out at a very low tier program school and work my way up, man. That would be so crazy dope, man. And then to add even more to it, because we see in the coach carousel where coaches go to the NFL. Hey, let me be able to export my coach to Madden. And then, hey, I can export them back to college. You know what I'm saying? The games are so connected that's a possibility. That's something that could be done. But that coach road to glory mode, I've done a video on that, and I'm going to do some more videos on that because I think that's something that could be really, really cool. If I'm not mistaken, there was in one of the older college football games where you could actually do that, where in a sense where it starts you out on a lower tier school as a coordinator and you have to work your way up. I want that. And it's stupid, I know, guys, because I can simply just do that myself. Just DM. We've all done it with the rebuilds. We started out that way. But I think that if you have certain elements of the game centered around that, building your coach, making a name for yourself and things like that, make it more coach centered. You know what I'm saying? I think that could be a really good opportunity. Little bitty things like that can add a lot of depth to the game. That's pretty much all I have for right now. I gotta think some more. I gotta brainstorm some more on some things that I would really like to see. But to me, those are the top on my list right now, man. Those alone would make 27 phenomenal in every way. So let me know what y'all think. What are some things that on your wish list that you would like to see in college football 27 down in the comment section down below. That's all I got for right now, y'all. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.